time to shift gears. This is the Manshift Guide.
Welcome back to the Manshift Guide, where we talk with men who reinvent what it means to step into purpose, discipline, and identity. Today, I'm sitting with somebody who's lived one of the wildest transformations I've ever seen. He was once 305 pounds, battling habits and mindsets that were weighing down more than his body. Now he's on a mission to earn his professional bodybuilding card and inspire men through discipline, struggle, and ownership. So, welcome to the show, Preston.
Thank you for having me, dude. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so let's kind of jump into a little bit about the beginning of your transformation of your journey and a little bit of a background between us. We met probably I'd say about a year ago or so. I think it was probably about this time last year
Yeah.
on TikTok. And I'm not sure if it was me landing on one of your live streams or you landing on mine, but there was kind of like this like online relationships started happening, and you offered your services as a trainer,
Yeah.
and then I've kind of like a little bit later on, like now I'm on my own personal weight loss journey. I've taken you on as my coach,
Yeah.
and we're kind of doing that. So.
Yeah.
Um, I'm appreciative of you being our first guest here today, and we're just going to start off from beginning. And
Okay.
so I guess we will say, what did the 300 pounds, 305 pounds as you were, how did that feel for you? How was it mentally? How was it physically?
I mean, honestly, my whole life, man, that's the only thing I've known is being overweight. And, I look forward to eating and, like, I'm sure a lot of us that are overweight can kind of have that, like, general sense of, like, what that may feel like. But for me, it was just unhappiness, and never an understanding why I was unhappy, I feel like I knew I wasn't living up to my full potential. And that's why I was unhappy. That's obviously like looking at it now with hindsight,
Mhm.
but every day was, uncomfortable. I have a headache, so I have to do this, or I have to go to work for 12 hours, so I'm gonna stop by McDonald's, and then at work I'm gonna go get whatever I want to eat. So just to a certain point, it just got hard to even put my shoes on, hard to get motivated to do anything but pay the bills. You know what I mean? So it wasn't definitely wasn't a life that I would enjoy living.
Sure. What do you believe was your belief about yourself that you were carrying back then that kept you stuck in that kind of way?
So I mean, that's kind of like not role models that I had around me, but like my mom was very similar growing up. Was that
Mm,
you know her free time was work or we're eating.
mm,
We're gonna go on a vacation and eat more food.
sure.
So that to me, it wasn't like I was limiting myself. That was all I knew, and I never like decided to open up my mindset to anything farther until later in life.
Sure. So, given with that, what was the moment you feel like that you decided that you were just kind of like done being that version? Like, what was the spark that made you want to change?
So I've told you this story personally before,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got out of a relationship of 7 years, and it was not amicable. It was her, it was her leaving me. So like, yeah, I felt kind of fucked up at the moment, and sorry, I felt kind of messed up at the moment. And I later on, like 6 months after that, I decided to start dating again, and I met my wife, and we started dating at the time, and there was like a spark where she like asked me what I wanted to do with myself, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I didn't know how to answer her question, and so like it was her kind of like believing in me and like why can't you do what you want to do? What is different than you? What, you know what I mean? And it just kind of switched my mindset from like what did I thought was cool as a young man, as a young kid, and that was bodybuilding and being, muscular dudes. That's what I thought was really cool, and I always wanted to do that, but I never, I guess, had the support or the mindset to believe that I could when I was younger. So
Sure.
that like switch was her like believing in me and me actually doing introspective work and finding out what I thought was really cool.
Yeah. So bodybuilding was something that you've been exposed to. Like that was something you just grew up thinking that was cool, and it was just kind of one of those things like you wish you could do it, but you didn't see yourself being that kind of person at the time.
100%. I mean, it's not that I couldn't see myself doing this, you know. I would envision that, you know, even as a young man, it's like, what would I look like if I were going to the gym? What would I look like as a more disciplined person, you know? But I never did it, you know, because I
Sure.
never had that, you know, my the people around me at the time were like, "Oh, it's too hard. You can't do that or this or that." You know what I mean? There's always those people in your life, and me being younger, I listened to them. You know what I mean? But this is like, you know, I would say this is my not my go around, right? Because this is what I'm doing now. This is my life. But there's two other times before, like when I was a young man, I was 17. We had a like a home gym, like a
Mhm.
bench press, you know, stuff to work your biceps. You know, so it was just like a minor home gym, and I would work out every day when I was from 16 to 17. And then what stopped that is, you know, I got a job, so I made a whole bunch of excuses on why I couldn't do it, you know.
Sure.
And then again, when I was 26 or 27, we had like a small weightlifting area at my job, so I would lift weights. And you know, anytime I was just like, oh, you know, I have the opportunity to do this, and I would do it, and then there would be a reason why I fall off, you know. But I never like never doubted that I could do this. I just never believed that I should do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, I think. Um, so I feel like maybe you've kind of like answered this question, talking about motivation,
Sure.
from your wife and stuff, but I kind of want to go back to like the idea of like what point did you kind of stop seeing yourself as being like the overweight guy to like to the point where like now you're going to be like an athlete. Like this is you're the athlete now. Like when did that transition happen for you?
Honestly, man, like I see myself in the mirror and I see myself, yeah, but like I still kind of have that like fear at the back of my head, you know? And
Mhm.
that's honestly like what drives me harder now is because I don't want to be that guy anymore. You
Sure.
know, I have my son now. And that's a big driving factor for me to like stay on top of my nutrition, stay on top of my goals, you know, because it'd be super easy to just be like, oh, well, you know, I could go to the gym 3, 4 times a week and maintain what I got and, you know, kind of just be here and, you know, manage my business and that's it, you know.
Right.
But I want more for myself. I want more out of life. My wife wants more out of life. My son wants more out of life, you know. So
Right.
that requires me to go out there and get it. So I guess in the mindset of that is that I still see myself sometimes as that guy. So it
Sure.
motivates me to go harder.
And you talk about people like for me, for instance. So I am going to the gym and I'm trying to lose weight and stuff, but I'm not one like I like sure I want to look better and what have you, but I don't have the drive to want to get to the point where I want to like, be a bodybuilder in that way. So like and not everybody does have that. So it's just like, how do you think, or why do you think you have that drive? Like, what's the difference between like, as you were saying, yeah, you have your wife and your kid there motivating you, but this is more than just like you don't want to be that fat guy again, but this is like you want to be like an Olympian, like Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger type person, like what is it about that that's appealing to you?
I think that just kind of like goes again, like back to my childhood is like, I always thought that was really cool. And then I guess a little bit more about me is that I'm always like a hyper competitive person,
Hmm.
you know, not in a bad way. It's not like I want to be better than anybody, but I want to be better than me, you know. And I
Sure.
know what I did yesterday, and I'm going to do my best tomorrow to do better than that. You know, I know what I did today, so I'm going to give my all tomorrow to do better than I did today, you know. And it's that never-ending pursuit of like structure of me trying to be better than I was, you know,
Yeah.
because I know where I've come. I know how little, you know, for me at the end of the day, it doesn't feel good. I don't feel good about myself if I sat there and I know I didn't give that day my all. You know, if I don't get into the shower at the end of the night and be like, yeah, I'm tired, really tired. But then I think about it, what I did that day, and I'm like, all right, well, I could go to sleep tonight,
Hmm.
you know. So I guess I've always had that drive to just be competitive, to be, you know, all in on what I'm doing, you know, like was when I was doing security for 10 years, I was all in on that. I was taking pride in what I was doing, but I wasn't, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I never felt like, oh, this is cool, like it was just what I was doing. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it my all. But now I'm able to speak to everybody with a smile on my face because I enjoy what I'm doing. So the fact that I'm able to push myself and push others around me to be the best version of them is what keeps me going.
Sure. And you talk about wanting to do this since you were a kid, and I think about like, kindergarten age children or like, they want to be a fireman or a Power Ranger or like does it go that far back? Like 7, 6 years old, like
Absolutely.
drawing pictures of like having your teacher say, "What do you want to be?" And like, "I want to be a bodybuilder." Like, is that
Absolutely. I would say that like I don't necessarily remember if I was drawing pictures like that, but I would
uh,
draw myself as a more muscular person, yeah.
interesting?
But like, I think I've told you that is like when I was a kid, there was like bodybuilding on ESPN on the Sports Center and so I wouldn't say that we were well off, but we had satellite when I was a kid. So I had ESPN, I had Sports Center, and I would always be either watching that or like the military channel. So I was
Interesting.
always like looking up to guys that were more structured, that were muscular, bigger, capable, and I was like, I want to do that. But I always kind of lean more towards the bodybuilding side because, I mean, you like behind you, bro, you got Superman on the wall. For me, that's really cool. But I look at Superman like I really admire that physique.
Hmm.
So I would look at it like, what can I do to be my version of Superman? What can I do to be my version of Jay Cutler? What can I do to be my version of Ronnie Coleman? So even to this day, man, I still idolize that. I still watch those like old school 90s bodybuilding, eating and training videos because I want to emulate that. I want to be bigger. I want to be me, my version of that.
Sure. What did this transformation force you to like heal internally? How has that taken you from being that person who was like, you said you lost that relationship for 7 years, like, and you hear stories about people who are like, the gym saved me. Like you see those
Mhm.
kinds of stories, and I'm assuming yours is probably very similar to that. So how has that worked out for you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It 100% has saved me. You know, it's taken me from doing something that I hated to pay the bills to quitting my job and believing in myself that because I'm passionate about this, I can make a living doing this. I could, keep the lights on. I can put food on the table. I can support my goals and put money away for my son for his future and whatever he's passionate about. I can, you know, take my wife on vacation. I can, we can go do things by me going out every day doing what I love. So, and that's just from me being a man that started going to Planet Fitness at 1 in the morning because I was too shy to go and see anybody else in the gym.
Sure.
So it definitely has saved my life. It's gone from like, you know, me being like an overworked, underappreciated, uh, unhappy man to every day I wake up and I tell myself it's an awesome day because I get to do what I love.
Hmm.
Very big on like practicing, introspection, being mindful and gratitude. So every day at the end of the day, I tell myself it was a great day, and I wake up every morning and I tell myself it's gonna be a great day.
Okay. Discipline versus motivation. What's the truth in that?
Very true.
Yeah.
There's sometimes, man, you know, if you're doing what you love, man, like if you're really happy to go and push yourself in the gym, I'm almost never motivated because I love what I do.
Hmm.
It's not like I have to get myself riled up. Like I'll get in the gym and I'll get happy because I like being there. I like lifting weights. I like how I feel. I like the sensation of pushing myself. Um, but when it comes to like business, there is a level of discipline over motivation. You have to be motivated to start your business, but you have to be disciplined to grow it, because
Hmm.
not like especially in the field of like selling yourself. I don't want to say it like that, but to be weird, you're selling yourself. You're selling you as a service. You're selling your knowledge. You're selling your ability to speak to people as a service, right? Um, there's a certain level of discipline that you have to have. You're gonna open 100 doors, and 99 of them are gonna slam shut in your face. Your motivation is gonna go out of the window very quickly if you rely on motivation. So you got to stay disciplined to make sure that you keep opening those doors because the moment that you give up, is that next door would have been your saving grace, you know?
Sure.
So I say that every day is that even though like I still want to be that, you know, where I'm looking for you. I want to be that introverted guy where I'm just
Mhm.
quiet and I want to come home and sit down and do nothing and but I also want to grow my business. So I need to go and talk to people. I need to put myself out there. I need to network with people. I need to again do what I love. Like I'm happy to talk fitness to other people. So 99% of the time, like I'm not coaching people for free, but if someone comes to me, I'm gonna go and give them advice. I'm gonna help them with their form, I'm gonna help them with their diet, I'm gonna help them with whatever it is they need help with. So
Sure.
if it turns into something, it turns into something. But at the end of the day, I still want to put myself out there in that aspect.
Yeah, 100%. I hear this a lot. People who are online and they're kind of like in the fitness industry, and they talk about after losing a significant amount of weight that people start to treat them differently.
Huh,
Um, Me being on my journey, like I feel like I've lost a significant amount of weight. So like January 1st of 2024, I was 307 pounds, and today I clocked in at roughly about 260. So like I'm getting really close to like that 50 pounds lost deal, but I don't feel like people are necessarily have treated me any differently.
right.
So have you experienced any of that? Like,
100%.
yeah.
My experience, man, is that it doesn't necessarily come when you like least expect it. Like I still remember the first time that someone like came up to me in the gym and they said, "Damn, I want to look like you."
Huh.
And I was like, I was like, "Wait, what?" Like it threw me off, because like I was going to the gym, like this is still at Planet Fitness. And I was like super determined initially to just like be the best version of me. So I was like, uh, doing every bit of research that I could on YouTube, every bit of podcast listening, everything I could possibly learn about bodybuilding and getting in shape I deleted all my social medias and the only thing I was on was YouTube and I was just listening to bodybuilding and how to get in shape and
Hmm.
so to me I was just an average guy, chasing a dream. And this guy
Sure.
came up to me, he's like, I want to look like you, I want to train like you. And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't understand, but it's definitely going to come when you least expect it, man. You know what I mean? And it definitely doesn't come like it's just going to be one random day. Someone's going to see you like pushing yourself and they're going to be like, "Damn, I want to be like you." I want to do what you're doing. I want to have your discipline, and you're just, what the hell are you talking about? It's weird. But as I've gotten farther into this and my physique has changed from an average gym goer to somewhat more of a bodybuilder-esque physique. That like literally everybody talks to me at the gym and I welcome it. Um, I think it's really cool that people actually come to me and ask me for advice and I'm able to help them. And I learn stuff from other people as well. It's like
Sure.
um I would never go and like talk to people that are bigger than me before. I would never talk to people that I looked up to. I would just whatever they say, I'm gonna listen, you know. And now I'm actually able to go and talk to people that I look up to and get advice from them. So there's that aspect too of like people will treat you differently, but I think it's more of a perspective thing of that you view yourself differently.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it kind of sounds like a lot of it has to do with like your own internal, like how you think people are viewing you, and there
Absolutely.
could be some like disdain or things like that. But like really at the end of the day, like everybody's kind of more worried about their own stuff to really worry about you. So, but I
Absolutely.
think I think a lot of it, and I also had come across a like a motivational video that I really sparked with me, and it talked about like like your situation doesn't suck, but your mindset sucks. So like
Yeah,
I think a lot of it has to do with like your own personal mindset, and I think maybe as that changes, then maybe you start noticing that maybe other people are being more nice to you or outgoing or stuff. Um,
100%. Yeah, I would agree with that, man. It's like your mindset is just everything. And if you're able to switch your mindset to, damn, I'm gonna smile today, because it actively takes more energy to frown than it does to smile. if you
Sure.
actually look up the science behind it. And that's something that I actively try to do is
Mm.
smile, 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 smile every time. I don't want to be in anybody else's presence where I'm unhappy, you know? I mean,
Sure.
obviously it's going to happen. We're human, but I still would rather spread positivity and smile than be walking around like, it's kind of rough for me right now.
Sure.
Nobody cares about that at the end of the day. But if
Right.
you're able to brighten somebody else up, it's going to make you feel better at the end of the day too.
Sure. Would you say that when that person had came up to you that day and it was like, I want to look like you, was that kind of like what sparked the like, hey, I could maybe become a trainer? Was that like kind of how that
No,
went?
no, man.
No?
That was just like, oh, maybe I have a lifting buddy.
Oh,
Yeah, that the trainer didn't come until like I tried it in 2024, but I was working for somebody else.
hmm
And I don't think I appreciated the experience that I got then,
hmm
and I was viewing it as a different way.
Sure.
And when I decided to go all in and, start my business this year, I look back on that and I was like, damn, you know what? I could have treated that with much more respect than the experience that I got. And I
Sure.
didn't. So being able to go through that and learn that, maybe this is something that I want to do and I should be able to treat it with more priority and more respect. I was doing it more as like a side gig rather than treating it like it should be something that I love doing. And
Sure.
it's just something that spiraled into something that I love doing more.
Hmm. Having had been 305 pounds, I actually like so I've been sharing, so another shout out for our own personal Facebook group, the Manshift Guide, Manshift Guide. You often share a lot of like of those like little viral hits, those videos of like you working out or like those motivation things. And
Mhm,
the one that I liked was the one where I don't know how far along you were in the journey, where you could like you were a little bit chubbier and you had your shirt
mhm,
off and you're flexing, and then it switched over to like what you look like now. Um,
mhm.
so like having been like the 305 pounds, like how do you think that shapes the way that you coach other men or other
I
people?
think it, I think that it helps me a lot because like for instance, man, I'm not going to give names, but I have a client right now. She's a middle-aged lady, and she came to me at, I think she's like 188 pounds or something like that. She's not very tall. She's like 5'7", 5'8", something like that. Um, but being able to help her is that like, we all have this typical thing we see on the internet, right? And this was something that I did at the beginning is, oh, you can work hard on the weekends or work hard during the week, and then on Sunday you can have a cheat day. It's not the case. You could very easily like undo a week's worth of progress in one day, like in one meal, just like having a couple sodas, having a shake, having a burger and fries. You could easily just undo that entire week's worth of progress in one meal,
Mm,
and being able to be in her shoes of like, I've understood, you know, that you are going to have these mental battles with yourself. Like the scale is not reflecting my worth.
mm,
Oh, I should give up right now. The scale doesn't change. The scale isn't changing. I've gone up, I've gone up some weight, and being able to be in those shoes and especially having the knowledge that I have now, because every year, man, every day I'm learning something new from somebody else, or I'm just learning every day, being able to understand what oxidative stress is and how the body inflames itself and holds on to water. So even if you had like a really hard day at work, you could gain like a pound or two, even though you're
mm,
actually losing body fat, you may have gained a pound or two in just water inflammation, right? So you're gonna get super discouraged because you're gonna be like, damn, I pushed myself so hard yesterday. It was a hard day at work, but I still did everything I needed to, and the scale says 2 pounds more. And
mm,
that's been a case with her a lot is because she's also a business owner. She works very hard. So there's been, plenty of conversations with her where I've been like, you have to trust the process. So for me, that it's helped a lot because I've put myself in her shoes because I was there, and I didn't understand that. And then the only thing that kept me going was that I'm not going to give up on myself. I had
mm,
somebody that, my wife was believing in me at the time. So it helped me believe in myself more is that someone was there like believing in me. So that I like to bring that to my clients as well, is that I believe in you. You have to trust the process. Like you have to trust me, you have to trust the process, 'cause I'm not going to steer you wrong, I'm not going to do you wrong, and yeah, so it's definitely helped me in the aspect of helping others.
yeah, and I mean I have I felt that like you say like you believe and like, your clients, but like me being one of them, like I can say that you can generally tell that like when you say you believe in someone, that it's not like a fake I believe in you. Like it's true. Like you come off as very genuine. You come off as very like, like you're really there to support whoever it is that you're working with. So
Absolutely.
that's something that I know that I appreciate, and I'm sure everyone else who comes your way appreciates as well. And I would say that for me in my weight loss journey, that I'm kind of like in the same boat at right now.
Yeah.
Like I'll get stuck for like a week or two, and then all of a sudden there'll be like a drastic like 4 pound shift in a day, or
Yeah.
like, and then it will dip, and it will start dipping, and then it'll pause, and then it
Yeah.
will start dipping again, and like, and now that I weigh myself every day or mostly
Yeah.
every day, and it sucks, but it also has let me see that. It let me see I see those dips. Um so I can't tell you how much I appreciate the hope that you do. And
Yeah.
I hope that people who are listening to this, that they will reach out, and we can definitely get you guys set up together for any kind of stuff when it
Yeah.
comes
I
to that.
mean, like I always tell everybody, man, I'll talk to you for an hour. A consultation is free. I'll always talk to you, and if we work together, we work together. If we don't, at least you learned something from me, and I was able to at least steer you in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Sure. So, given with all this stuff, what's the version of yourself that you feel like you're working on now?
Being better than I was yesterday, man.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I can say. I don't want to have an endpoint, because I think a lot of people set a goal and a goal has an endpoint. I think an endpoint is not necessarily a good thing. I think that you
mhm,
need to have a forever improving version of you so that you know, you don't
sure,
just stop one day like, damn, okay, I've reached my goal. That's it.
sure,
That's it. There's always something better that you can do.
sure,
So for me, it's just right now is bodybuilding, obviously, but bodybuilding is still allowing me to be better than I was yesterday, as
sure.
well as business, as being a father, as being a husband, everything that I have going on in my life is allowing me every day to be better than I was yesterday.
So, yeah, and kind of to close off here, so your journey has taken you, I think, 4 years, 5 years, was it?
Yeah, so I guess I started like 2020.
Okay,
Uh, but 2020 I wasn't in the gym. I was just, I had got my dog and I was just going walks.
sure,
Started eating, instead of going to Carl's Jr. and getting two burgers, I would get one. And I just started really small, just like eating less, and then I just got tired of that too. I got
hmm,
tired of like not feeling my best, not doing my best, so but that takes again like some introspective and some realization. So yeah, it's been about 5 years. Yeah.
okay. So, looking back at the last 5 years, if you could talk to that 305 pound version of yourself, what would you say to him right now?
Honestly, I don't think I would say anything, man.
Yeah,
I think that everything happens for a reason, and I think that everything that I experienced was made me who I am today.
sure. I love
So
it.
I would just go back and watch it, kind of reminisce and remember how I felt and be grateful for where I am now.
Sure. So, at this point of the episode, I'd like to bring a new segment, and that will be called "Men That We Admire." And I will give the floor to you. And if there is a particular man that you would like to shout out and that talk about why you admire him, you can feel free to do so.
Yeah, man. I think when I was a young man, I really looked up to my grandfather. I know I looked up to my grandfather, but as I've gotten older, I have a lot of memories of like him teaching me stuff, and me looking back on it with my knowledge now, I understand what he was trying to teach me, you know, and I didn't have like I had my sister's dad growing up, but I never knew my dad, so the only family father figure that I had was him. was my grandfather, and he was the one that would like take time to like show me what he was passionate about. And he was a mechanic, so he liked working on motorcycles and cars and stuff, So he would take time and show me things like that. But he would also be like, I was I was an ADHD kid, so if anybody's out there kind of relates with that, you understand. You're always like fidgety and moving around, and so he would always be on me, and I was just like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I didn't understand, because he was always like loving but tough,
Mm.
And I look back on the stuff that he would like tell me and tell my mom and tell my sister, and how he was like super financially forward thinking, how he was a hard worker, how he set himself up to retire, how he set himself up for the future. And he was literally trying to teach us that. And I look back on that now as a 31-year-old man, like, damn, he was trying to teach us stuff. He passed away in 2015. So, I often go to his grave now, because my grandmother just passed away this year as well. So, but I go there and I always like tell him that I'm gonna make him, I'm gonna make him proud.
Mm. Three.
Sorry, man.
No, I love it. It sounds like he was a really awesome guy.
Yeah, man, he definitely was, and hindsight is 2020,
Yeah,
So being able to look back, I'm very fond that I have those memories of like him trying to teach me things,
yeah,
because now I can do that with my son.
sure. Which is one of probably the most important thing above all that you have
Yeah,
going on right now.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
3 minutes or less. How can we find you on the internet?
I'm at Bethlehem the Beast on everything except for Facebook. Facebook
Okay.
is just my name, Preston Wilmore.
Okay. And that's it. This is our
That's
first
it.
guest. This is Preston Bethlehem the Beast. Find him on YouTube, find him on TikTok, find him on Facebook, and find him on the Manshift Guides Facebook page. I will be promoting your stuff as well, so hopefully that you will find some connections there. And my name is Oren, and this has been the Manshift Guide.